Welcome to another podcast, BFS, Breaking Free Speech, the official podcast of Breaking Free Skatepark, the largest indoor skate park in New York. Yeah, I was just talking with my brother, Uncle Gary, as Clark would say, Uncle Gary! Shout out my boy Clark. My brother gives me feedback on my podcasts. I think I mentioned that earlier. So he's like, he listens to it. He's like, hey, you kind of still sound like an idiot. And I'm like, dude, I can't help it. I'm an idiot. No, I'm not an idiot. I'm an idiot. Totally an idiot. I'm trying to get better. We did that podcast today, the Toothless Tuesday podcast. I'm still not entirely convinced whether I sound better with or without my teeth. And it's not a matter of being self-conscious. It's just a matter of enunciating clearer in a way where my voice is more digestible for the ears. Although that would be mixing the your mouth and eating with your ears. I don't know if that analogy works well. But yeah, so I got to work on my sign off and my sign in and doing all that stuff. But whatever. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit and elaborate on we used to do vlogs. If you go to our YouTube channel, breakingfreeskatepark.com/ youtube.com/breakingfreeskatepark. Yeah. There's a vlog series. We vlogged everything opening up. And I mentioned earlier it was really hard. And I got better at it. But it really teaches me to speak better. Because I would speak to the camera and then I'd go home and edit it, and I developed a way of talking where I would be going through the sentence. I would be going through the sentence like that. Because I was editing my own vlogs, I would film it in a way that when I got to if I misspoke, I would just say the sentence again, knowing that when I got on the computer to edit the video, I would just cut out the word. I would just cut out the sentence, or I'd cut out the three times I said it. And I would cut down the spaces in between sentences to make it faster, go by more seamlessly and everything, to make me sound like more of a competent speaker. On this platform, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to kind of go for it. And I was gonna ask you guys if you're enjoying the format, or if you think how do I say this? So there's two ways I could do it. I could sit down and I can make an outline and bullet points in order every time I do it, and then work off of that. But then I'd have to work on reading and talking at the same time versus just spitting it out. I might work toward doing some sort of hybrid of the two. When I did the President's Day podcast, I definitely did that, but that was for obvious reasons. Yeah. So let me know in the comments if you're enjoying the format, or go figure. Dave didn't put his phone on silent again. What you doing? Tell you what I'm doing. I'm recording a podcast, and you just interrupted it. I hope the answer to this text message is like, well, why wasn't your phone on silent, idiot? Oh, jeez. Yeah, overall, I want this podcast, obviously I want it to be be as digestible as possible. I want you to want to listen. I want your feedback so I can continue to grow. So I can continue to grow. I continue to grow this podcast into something that my listeners and viewers want to hear. I was looking at the analytics this morning. I love analytics, if you didn't know, from the Sign-In Sheet podcast. I love numbers and analytics. So right now, it's a couple days earlier because I record these not in order. Well, in order, but not at one, day after day. So right now there's 8 podcasts live. By the time this comes up, it'll be the 11th. So it's basically 8 podcasts in 8 days across 2 platforms, and I have about 625 views, and I'm really proud of that. And I want to say thank you to you guys for listening to this and giving me your feedback. You start something like this and you're like, who's going to listen? I was expecting to get less than this and to have to really work to drive the traffic and the views and listens up. And I'm still going to do that because I don't half-ass anything anyway. But yeah, thank you for listening. And I appreciate your feedback so much. So much about all the BFS brands, all the Breaking Free brands, it's all double bottom line. So obviously with the skate park, I need to pay my bills, right? And I need to make enough money that I could pay myself a living wage and pay my employees a living wage. But the second bottom line is impact. It's you guys. It's making a lasting impact on the community, a lasting impact on your lives. The podcast is the same way. Obviously, I want to get listens and views and engagements, and I want it to grow. I'd like the podcast to be something that helps support the skate park and the longevity of the skate park. Skate pork. You think skate pork is kosher? Wow. Yeah. All of it's working toward the longevity of these projects. Because obviously, I don't want my business to fail. Because if my business fails, well, then I'm screwed. And it's not just if a restaurant fails, you get kicked out, and the landlord takes your restaurant, basically all your equipment, which is insanely expensive. We could probably get Blaze on the podcast again. He works in restaurants. That world is crazy. I think about that whenever I'm stressed out about my business at the skate park, and I'm like, thank God it's not a restaurant. Dude, shout out to anyone that works in the restaurant. You dudes hustle. That's crazy. Long hours. It's hot. And the front end of the kitchen has to deal with, whiny people that are want to change the order. And God, no, not for me. So if a restaurant closes, generally the landlord just takes all the equipment, and then they could use that equipment to incentivize a new restaurant to come into the location. And then that restaurant doesn't have to spend who knows what it is, $250,000 to build out a kitchen, because everything's got to be stainless steel and the fire retardants and all that stuff. I don't have that luxury. If I go out of business and the skate park fails, the burden and the expense of getting rid of the ramps falls on me. It would be, they would just they'd just charge me. They'd be like, all right, you're evicted and you're done, or whatever it would be. Or even if I wanted to voluntarily choose to close the park, I'd be like, you know what, guys, this is too hard, I'm done. It's still my responsibility to get rid of the ramps, unless I can find someone else to buy the skate park. So the long term is what I'm looking at. You should, hold on. Love coffee. Yeah, so all of this is about long-term longevity and helping you guys, because to go back to the double bottom line, I am very aware. I'm painfully aware how important the skate park is to people. This is such a big thing over my head that I gotta take a deep breath when I think about it. My life was defined by my riding of BMX bikes. That's where I met my friends. That's where I made all my memories. That without bikes in my life, I wouldn't be the same person. And it's not even about the bikes. It's about the camaraderie and the sport and all those things. The memories I have. I had my I think my 16th birthday, me and all my friends went to the Incline Club in Jersey. I have pictures somewhere on the web. I could try to find those one day. So I know, people talk about it. If any of you listeners are older, you'll think about whether it was Extremes or Spinners or Scuffs or the Incline Club or Rasp, even if you're younger. Those years that formulated who you are and your friends. It's You take those memories and you put them so high up on a pedestal, like they're just defining things. Like, oh, remember so and so that one time they jumped that gap? Oh my God, I went there every Saturday. You get this. Again, my brother and I were just speaking about this. That your memories get exaggerated by the feelings you have within them. So there's been studies done on human memory, and it's actually really inaccurate. You don't remember details that well, and they get distorted, and the facts kind of shift around. And the thing that shifts around the facts is your feelings. So you'll say you used to go to Extremes 1 back in the day. You went often, maybe 2 weekends, 2 Saturdays, 2 of the weekends of the month you went, maybe a weekday here and there. And like a lot of times you probably were just like one of the kids that hang out at the skate park all the time now, and you're just like hanging out, talking, Every time you ride, you're not learning a new trick. It's fun, but it's kind of mundane. But then you fast forward 15 years and you think back and you're like, dude, I was there every Saturday. That shit was so sick. Your positive emotion, how stoked you were on all of it, gets inflated. And you're like, I was there every Saturday. All my friends were there. There was 100 people. Dude, it was so sick. I learned a new trick every day. You always hear people like, oh, I used to do 720s. I used to send the 9 and shit. They just get get lost. And God, and this makes me just really happy talking about it. Because like I said, my whole life is bikes. And it's sick. Like I'm the same way talking about stuff in my past. Like, all I did was ride. Obviously not all I did was ride. I didn't get a license till I was, I think almost 20, and I pedaled everywhere. But to say all I did was ride seems really accurate to me, and it really wasn't. So, to pull it back, I'm going to lasso this conversation back up. I'm really aware that in 10 years, all my regulars, Harry and Fox, Luca, and all of you guys that are here, and even the people that come, less often than that, even if you're coming once a month, I know that 10 years from now, you're going to look back at the skate park, you're going to look back at me, and it's going to be just like huge in your minds. And I'm aware that, the implications of the skate park environment affect that dramatically. I'll probably do a whole podcast about the differences in skate park culture 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and like now, because it's really dramatic. But I'm aware of these things, very aware of these things. Like, the podcast is for that reason. Like, I could just run the business and kick back and just focus on nothing but the money aspect. And in fact, you could probably make an argument, well, that's probably better for me individually in the long term, but that's not what I'm interested in at all. I'm interested in you guys. And I'm not trying to isolate the youths, the older guys that listen or come to the park. Like, I'm stoked on that too. Like, when a guy comes in and he's like, I haven't rode in 20 years, or my kid's now 6 and he learned how to ride 2 wheels, or we just got him a skateboard, and then they start coming to the beginner session and dad starts riding again. Like that's just as valuable. Getting someone older back on their board is like, doesn't get better than that. Like, that's the full circle. Like, what I'm saying about the memories and how they're inflated and being like on a pedestal, like, to also be the person that can facilitate an older person reigniting that flame and falling in love with riding again, and then to see them doing it with their kid and growing together with their kid, it's like, seriously, like a beautiful, beautiful thing. I got a lot of customers that come in with their kids. Like, shout out to Seabass. He comes in with his dad. His dad, I don't know how old his dad is. He's got to be mid to late 40s. I think he just started skating like last year. And that's a whole nother thing. Like 10 years ago, you'd never be like, oh, my dad picked up skateboarding at 50. That would never happen. Maybe not never, but not as common now. It's just beautiful. we've thrown on the idea of doing parent, what's it called when you parent children edits, where we'd bring in a dad and their kid on like a private Monday session and just do a little edit. I think that's a great thing to promote. Yeah, but it's just great. These progression oriented sports are life changing, and they're so important, and that's why I do this, and that's why I'm striving to be better at it. And striving to have you engaging with me, because I don't want to see you stop riding, and I'd like to see people that used to ride to come back to riding, to find that 2 hours a week to just get out and ride, and it doesn't have to be with me either. Like, it can be anywhere. That's why I offer all the things I offer. That's why I sell product. Like, there's plenty of customers I have that have never ridden at the park. They come in, they buy products from me, and I never see them. They only ride street, and that's cool. It's great. I love street. As long as you're still riding, skating, scooting, whatever it may be. If you've ever poked around the Breaking Free website, it also says we offer photo and video services. I can gladly shoot with you, make an edit for you. Like I'm committed to those long-term memories. And I don't want to keep. I'm up a minute. We're pretty up there on minutes here. This is long enough, so I'm gonna cut it there. But I will take a second to shout out to the people who have recognized what it is that I'm doing and seen it for what it is in an honest sense, and have committed their time and energies toward the same goals. That's like on the top of that list is obviously Kevin Willard. We're going to get him in here real soon to talk. He gets it, and I like Kevin because Kevin busts my balls. He'll give me a hard time. He'll call me out on my bullshit. Sometimes I get a little too ahead of myself. He loves correcting my tweets on Twitter. Most time on Twitter, I just open my phone, bang it out, close the phone, being that I'm dyslexic, and a lot of times when I'm tweeting, I'm riding my bike, so I just make grammatical errors like out the ass. Out the butt. And he loves to tell me when I'm wrong. And let me tell you guys, that's the kind of guy you want. That's the kind of guy that skateboarding and scootering creates. You don't want the friend who's only going to say good job and lie to you. You want the friend who's going to be like, yo, you fucked that up. Sorry. Damn, I gotta stop swearing. You want the friend that's going to be like, yo, you landed that sketchy, do it again. You want the friend that's going to be like, dude, there's a huge typo in there. Take that down, fix it, put it back up. Oh, cool. Like, that might hurt your feelings for half a second, but those are the good people. And those are the kind of people, hold on. These sports promote that sort of behavior, that sort of attribute, and that helps everyone. And that's why I'm doing this. So I'm going to end it right on that one. This podcast is pretty long in terms of what we normally do. So that's, I'm going to call it there. Uncle Gary said I got to work on my sign off. So, deep breath. Find my center. Okay, nail the sign off wrench. Perfect. Gonna go riding. Sorry, phone's still on. Gotta get better with it, guys. So yeah, if you like the podcast, subscribe, like the video, comment the video, tell your friends about the video. If you're listening to this on iTunes, give us a 5-star review, because we still haven't got enough reviews on iTunes to give us a public review. So it says not enough ratings yet. So please do that. If you're so inclined to like the podcast, there is a donate button on the Breaking Free Skatepark website. Eventually, we're going to work towards a subscription thing. And that's it. The deal. That's my podcast. You know the deal. And I turn around and look at this poster that's behind me that says, you walk the walk, you talk the talk, you shred the gnar. All right? God, I could do better than that. Whatever, dude. I did it. The podcast is over.